When you think about the people who fought in the Revolutionary War, familiar names like George Washington, Alexander Hamilton, and Paul Revere come up, but there are so many more who fought for the cause, like Mary Hayes, aka Molly Pitcher, who carried water back and forth to troops and even operated a cannon. African and Native American Crispus Attucks is considered the first casualty of the American Revolution. If your family has been in the U.S. for several generations, you might be the descendant of a patriot. Through the Daughters of the American Revolution, found out that one of my relatives, last name Lockett, took part in the war. Joining us with how to discover the branches that make up your family tree is Mary Barrow with the Daughters of the American Revolution, and she's here with the Houston chapter. Good morning.
Hi, thank you for having me.
All right. Okay, so for you, born in Alabama, grew up in Pensacola. Your husband's a former Navy flight instructor, but y'all decided to come back to Houston, which is his hometown?
Yes, ma'am. We came back in 2011.
All right.
And
so
then,
when did you discover the Daughters of the American Revolution?
so when we moved here, I didn't know anyone, so I decided to join the DAR in the Junior League of Houston. And so
both those organizations do a lot of great stuff in our community. Yeah.
Yes.
And so the Daughters of the American Revolution, explain who they are, how they got started.
So they were formed in 1890, and it's a lineage organization. So you would need to prove your ancestor fought in the American Revolution or took an oath of allegiance or gave supplies.
Yeah, because there's many ways they could have helped, right? Like
Yes,
I mentioned, Mary Pitcher, who was like you just delivering water to the
Yes.
troops. All right. So the Lady Washington chapter here, established in 1899, is the largest DAR chapter in the world. Okay. What you are wearing on your shoulder right there is basically your lineage, a representation of your lineage.
Yes, ma'am. This is like my story, my journey through DAR. So these are all of the ancestors that I've proved so far, and their service states, and basically what I do in the DAR is I do genealogy. So I have a lot of genealogy pins and service pins that way.
Yeah, that is crazy. Did you have any idea what your history did? Because obviously, families always say, yeah, we were related to Pocahontas. we're related to Jesus. We did our, right? So just through family stories, but obviously today we have DNA that can tell a much more factual story, but you had no idea.
Well, my grandmother would always say that we were, Mayflower, or we were related to Charlemagne, but we never talked about the Revolution.
Yeah.
And so,
and even when your grandmother would say that, she was saying that based on what she had heard before, right?
There was no proof.
Yeah, but you have the proof there now. Okay, genealogy is like a treasure hunt, you say.
It is. It's like finding a mystery. You're finding out a mystery. A lot of people like to watch mysteries on TV and who did it, but this is really your own mystery for your past. So it's great.
Yeah, all right. So for us to get started, I would imagine oral history is important. It can give you a place to start.
Yes, it is. And I would recommend starting with just finding your own birth certificate. You would be surprised how many people don't have that. So go ahead and find that, and then ask your parents for their birth certificates, and that will open up a conversation about, why do you need this? Well, I want to join the Daughters of the American Revolution, and I want to get started. And then that might spark your mom or your sister or your aunt that want to join with you.
Yeah.
And then you guys can start talking about things that you've heard passed down through your family about who was in and what side they were on and things like that.
Yeah, and looking at family names, like I'm surprised at how many people don't know their mother's maiden name.
Oh, that's true.
Right? So it's like, look at those family names, because it's not just the name that's on your birth certificate. There's a collection of names that goes into who you are, right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Genealogy resources. We have some great ones here. One is the Clayton Library.
Yes, I'm a big fan of the Clayton Library. They are one of the top 5 genealogical libraries in the world, actually.
Yeah, all right. Among the nation's, premier. All right, DNA and official records. So the organizations we've heard about, like Ancestry.com, FamilySearch.com, those are great places to start as well, because as I just mentioned, DNA kind of changed the game here.
Yes, that's true, especially for African American genealogy or Native American genealogy. Also Spanish genealogy is big right now. So DNA, and then just getting those first 3 generations of proof, which is like birth certificates, death certificates, and marriage records. Getting those is a good start.
Yeah, and especially in African American genealogy, a lot of people might not realize, like Duncan is a name that I've had for three generations, but a lot of African Americans' last names came from the slave owner.
Yes.
And Duncan was a big slave owner in Mississippi. And so in doing my genealogy, and when I was working with you all, it was so eye-opening because it went back to Mississippi. And the thing that is, slavery was ugly, it was horrible, we all know that part. But when it comes to finding your genealogy, because you were actually property at the time, you can find records of all that at the tax offices. I mean, they had those you listed as a piece of property.
Right.
But it's also how you can make that link. Of course, the tough part is taking that step from your slave master name to your African name. So that part gets hard, but that's where the DNA comes in, because you can find out what parts of Africa you may have come from.
Yes, and that sounds very intimidating, I would imagine, for anybody. So when you work with the DAR, they have volunteers that will help you through all of that.
Yeah. And so I was like surprised when they said, okay, we've done it, and now you prove that I was a daughter of the American Revolution, because through the Lockett family. The other thing that we find is, what I love about genealogy is when people start to do that, you have people who will come in and go, oh, we're 100% Irish, or we're 100% this. That's what we are. You'll find that people are usually much more mixed than that.
Yes, ma'am. We are a melting pot here, and so is our heritage.
Yeah. All right. AI is starting to enter the game now, too.
It is. It is a huge factor in what we do now, and it's a double-edged sword. So we're finding that some people are using it to doctor documents, which they shouldn't do, but we're also finding that it is.
You mean when I sent mine in and said I was related to Jesus, I should not have done? Yeah. Okay.
We'll have to verify that.
Yeah.
But we're using it to open doors that we were never able to open before. FamilySearch.org is a huge help, and they've done a great thing with AI in their full text search.
Yeah. All right. As the Daughters of the American Revolution, you're not just a social organization. You are an organization that does so many great things. You support wreaths across America, as we know, laying those wreaths on the graves of fallen soldiers. You send letters to active duty military and veterans. Your husband was in the military. I'm a military brat. I remember what that meant to troops that were so far away from home, to get a letter from somebody who's a stranger who just said, I care about you.
Yeah, it does mean a lot. And we also do honor flight too, which is really fun, especially bringing the kids to honor flight.
Explain to people what the honor flight is, because I think it's amazing too.
Okay, honor flight is when veterans go to DC to see their monument, and they come home, and then we go to the airport and cheer them on and clap and everything when they get there. It's great. They love it. It's so much fun.
And then education support, your Good Citizen medals for high school students, American History essay contest for elementary students, and all that's important about just learning about your country, right? Preserving history. You literally teach headstone cleaning classes.
Yes, at Woodlawn Cemetery.
Yeah, and because one of the things that they did when they looked at my genealogy was actually headstone rubbings.
Yes.
And so it was a cloth, and it was rubbed over the headstones, like, this is Lockett, this is the person that you're related to. To see that was really emotional for me, to make that connection. For America 250, you're the first Heritage Society to partner with the America 250 Commission, and on July 4th there will be celebrations and observances. One is at the Woodlawn Cemetery.
Yes, ma'am. We're going to have a big celebration. Everybody's invited from 10 to 2 p.m. at Woodlawn Cemetery.
Yeah, and the Salvation Army Band will be there, prize wheel for children to spin and win patriotic prizes, but a way to celebrate and at the same time recognize. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. This has been great.
If your sash gets any heavier, you add any more family members. Right. All right. For more information about the National Society Daughters of the American Revolution or their local Lady Washington chapter, visit greatdayhouston.com and we will connect you.